Hey everyone, Justin from Qore Performance here with the latest installment in our Best Plate Carrier series, a full-length documentary of the top 10 most popular plate carriers that we've covered in the series by views. We're going to start with number 10, the 10th most popular plate carrier in the series. We're going to work our way up to the most popular plate carrier covered in our series. So let's get started with the Spiritus Systems LV119.
Spiritus Systems is the brainchild of Zane Vogel and Adam Holrod, who developed the idea of making gear for soldiers by soldiers while deployed to the Hindu Kush mountains of Afghanistan. In their own words, it was an idea that we could do this better, that we could care about it more, that we could do it with integrity. Eventually, this led to the development of what is now known as the LV119 plate carrier system. The LV119 is one of the most popular plate carriers on the market today, and for good reason. It's also one of the most frequently requested plate carriers when it comes to integration of our Ice Age ecosystem. So the big question we want to answer today is, what makes the LV119 so popular? Stay tuned to this episode of Qore Performance Insights to find out. Oh, and a quick note about format. This is not a typical review video that you're going to find on YouTube. We put a lot of details in the show notes below. Check those out. But in the meantime, let's get back to the video. Ice Age ecosystem integration is the first category we are going to cover, since thermoregulation is the next night vision and Ice Age ecosystem integration is the genesis of this video series. The LV119 is a perfect host for our IceFence Aero minimalist plate carrier shoulder pads. The IceFence Classic heavy loadout plate carrier shoulder pads could also be used if you're running a heavier load, but they may be too wide for most users when paired with the LV119. For hydration, the IMS combo can ride on the back of the rear overt plate bag just fine using the Molly rows provided. As for conductive thermoregulation, the LV119 does not offer a way to run IMS Pro inside the carrier without modification. However, you can run our ice plate inside the rear plate bag and run your ballistic plate on the outside in our IMS as long as you are using a medium ESAPI plate. For convective thermoregulation, the LV119 currently does not have a way to run our IceFence Classic ventilation pontoons. However, we have a solution still in development called Catamaran to address this issue. While not as smooth as an organic integration like IcePlate EXO, Catamaran will allow all LV119 users to run IceFence under their plate bags easily. Setup takes just a couple of minutes and only has to be done once. Much like temperature, weight impacts human performance in a persistent and significant way. The pair of LV119 overt plate bags comes in at 17.75 ounces. The Molly Velcro cummerbund weighs 5.25 ounces, and together they clock in at 23 ounces. If you add the placard 5.56, a 3.65 ounce gain, you get a 26.65 ounce setup. In the show notes below, you'll find a link to our plate carrier weight calculator, which can be found in the Insights section of our website. It contains weight data for all of the carriers in this plate carrier overview series, along with weight data on armor plates, pouches, and more. Wet weight is easily the most underappreciated technical consideration when it comes to modern plate carrier selection. Whether sweat or salt water, moisture retention has a massive negative impact on human performance from the added weight and hygiene risk. Yeah, we're looking at you, wet boot socks. In our testing, the wet weight of the LV119 came out to 32.4 ounces. This is a 30% weight gain. It's not the worst we've seen, but it's not the best either. It is worth noting that Spiritus Systems makes an OTB version of the LV119 to address this issue, which likely outperforms the LV119 overt when it comes to wet weight. Like most modern plate carriers and armor systems, the LV119 does not have any natively integrated thermoregulation or hydration systems in the design. The LV119 is a minimalist style carrier. There is no extra padding, no spacer mesh, No interior Velcro, no built-in hydration features. Thermal transmittance is the transfer of heat through matter. In our case, that matter is the body-facing section of a plate bag. Since kit is already insulating by nature, you want to find gear, especially plate carriers and body armor, that have the highest possible thermal transmittance. In other words, you want to find plate carriers and body armor that have the minimum amount of insulation. Our baseline reading for the LV119 in a temperature-controlled office with a ballistic plate installed was 76 degrees Fahrenheit. After inserting an ice plate, the temperature was 58 degrees Fahrenheit. This is an 18-degree temperature shift. So what do these numbers mean? Well, the smaller the spread between the baseline surface temperature and the ice plate inside surface temperature, the lower the thermal transmittance of that plate bag. The smaller the thermal transmittance number, the worse the carrier is at expelling heat from the interface between your body and the plate carrier. The larger the thermal transmittance number, the more efficient the plate carrier is at expelling heat from your body carrier interface. In other words, smaller numbers mean you run hotter, bigger numbers mean you run cooler. Small numbers bad, big numbers good. The Spiritus Systems LV119 is built from materials regularly used in basic plate carriers today. Nylon, Velcro, plastic, T.Rex in the cummerbund, tweave, shot cord, and YKK zippers. When it comes to unique features, the LV119 is a completely customizable carrier. The LV119 comes in 3 styles: overt, covert, and OTB, or over the beach. All of these styles can be mixed and matched with the others for a completely a la carte experience, depending on your mission, scale up or down to match. The LV119 also offers easy cable management for commo systems with openings at the shoulders and bottom of the plate bags. The Spiritus Systems LV119 uses industry-standard attachment mechanisms: MOLLE, which is limited, Velcro, and zip-on panel, which it's worth noting is a YKK zipper. We're pretty sure it's a number 8 YKK Vislon with an 8.875-inch length, but the key takeaway here is that it is a YKK and that it is different from everything else in the market, so you can only use Spiritus Systems back panels. The LV119 also has Swift Clip or G-hook compatibility for placards on the front plate bag. When it comes to sizes, the LV119 plate bags come in medium, large, and extra large. The LV119 cummerbund comes in 2 sizes. Size 1, yes, that's what they call it, 28 inches to 42 inches, and size 2, which is 40 inches to 54 inches. Both the plate bags and the cummerbund are offered in Multicam, Multicam Black, Multicam Arid, Multicam Tropic, Woodland, Ranger Green, Wolf Gray, Black, and Coyote. The shoulders have ample sizing adjustment for in-between sizes. The cummerbund runs small, but has multiple mounting points in the rear plate bag that can be overlapped or worn wider in the front. Shot cord mounting is used in the rear plate bag, and Velcro is used in the front. The LV119 accepts SAPI or eSAPI plates in accordance with the size of the carrier, i.e. a large carrier fits large plates. We have exact sizing listed in the chart on screen. The country of origin, commonly abbreviated as COO, is an incredibly important consideration when it comes to plate carrier selection. COO is a dependable but not absolute indicator of innovation, quality, and craftsmanship. We reached out to Spiritus Systems to ask where their LV119 plate carriers are made, and they had this to say, quote, "Spiritus Systems proudly is a Berry Amendment compliant company, so all LV119s and everything else manufactured by Spiritus is made in the United States, North Carolina, from U.S. materials by U.S. citizens," end quote. We reached out via email on Tuesday, November 8th, 2022 at 2:37 p.m. and received our reply Tuesday, November 8th, 2022 at 4:38 p.m. Spiritus Systems is incredibly responsive. Spiritus Systems sells the LV119 overt plate bags for $109.95 to $119.95 per plate bag. The MOLLE Velcro cummerbund will run you $63.95 to $70.95. The placard 5.56 is $59.95, and for the complete package in medium, it will run you $343.80. All prices vary based on size, and here is how that compares to other carriers on the market today. So that's a wrap on our technical plate carrier overview of the Spiritus Systems LV119. We hope you guys enjoyed it and found it useful. But we'd love to know, if you own an LV-119, what do you like or dislike about it? If you were in the market for an LV-119, what other plate carriers are you considering? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to keep up with the latest in all aspect thermoregulation. Follow us on Instagram via @Qore Performance. I'm your host, Justin Lee, and until next time, stay frosty. Despite being introduced in 2012, the Crye Precision AVS has gone uncontested for more than a decade as the heavy loadout, full-duty plate carrier of choice for elite armed professionals the world over. With the Shaw Concepts Arc Carrier V2, Shaw Concepts has introduced the first credible challenger to the AVS. Designed as a full-duty plate carrier for line infantry, the Arc V2 represents a new approach to heavy load plate carrier design. This begs the question, does the Arc V2 have what it takes to dethrone the Crye Precision AVS and become the new, undisputed heavy loadout plate carrier champ for American infantry in 2023 and beyond? Stay tuned to this episode of Qore Performance Insights to find out. Before we get started, we have some disclosures and format notes to share. Before the comments blow up, a quick note on format and experimental design. We have full details on both linked in the show notes below for those who are interested. Thermoregulation is the next night vision, and Ice Age ecosystem integration is the genesis of this video series, so we'll start there. The Arc V2 is an excellent platform for Ice Age ecosystem integration. The body faces of the front and rear plate bags, as well as the cummerbund, are made almost entirely of loop, making it easy to add ice vents. While the Arc V2 does come with Arc shoulder pads, Ice Vents Aero and Ice Vents Classic are also an option if you are looking for load-bearing shoulder pads with ventilation. Convective thermoregulation? Check. The inner loop surface allows IMS Pro combos for internal conductive thermoregulation and hydration. The rear plate bag has full external moly fields, making IMS for external hard cell hydration and IMS Pro for internal or external cooling heating hydration a breeze. Finally, Ice Shield Plus plate carrier hand warmers, leveraging the magic of radiation, which is the third form of heat transfer, see link below for details, nestle cleanly on the exterior of the front plate bag to keep those trigger fingers happy in cold weather, even while wearing summer weight gloves. After temperature and environmental conditions, nothing impacts human operator performance more than weight. This is how the Arc V2 by Shaw Concepts stacks up against the Crye Precision AVS in terms of dry weight. The Arc V2 weighs in at 39.75 ounces. The AVS weighs in at 48.35 ounces. For you switched-on super nerds, we are going to take a deeper dive into the science behind weight and how it impacts human performance on mission. If this isn't your jam, feel free to skip to this timestamp. The science behind the impact of weight on human performance traces its origins to Nike co-founder and legendary University of Oregon track and field coach, Bill Bowerman. Part of the original PW-era Nike, Bowerman discovered that removing just 1 ounce from a shoe eliminates 55 pounds of lift over the distance of 1 mile when calculated using the gait of a 6-foot-tall runner. This can add up to thousands of pounds of effort over the course of 1 mile, with the effect compounding over distances commonly encountered while wearing a plate carrier for its intended purpose. Using Bowerman's formula, we can see that the Arc V2 is 19.52% or 8.6 ounces lighter than the Crye Precision AVS. This means that the Arc V2 will save you 1,135.2 pounds of lift effort over the course of a mile. A quick note on the weight of the Arc V2. As of the recording of this video in March 2023, the Arc V2 is advertised with a weight of 36 ounces on the Shaw Concepts website. This includes plate bags, cummerbund, pontoons, pads, and straps. The weight of 39.75 ounces is from the initial weighing of the Arc V2 here in our office, right out of the box. We reached out to Shaw Concepts for comment on the discrepancy between our 39.75 ounce reading and the 36 ounce weight on their website. They weighed the Arc V2 again and got a weight of 42 ounces in plastic wrapping. To be thorough, we weighed our Arc V2 a second time to check our work and got a dry weight of 39.6 ounces. But at this point, it had already been submerged for our wet weight testing. If we take the average of our two measurements and Shaw Concept's updated measurement, we get an average weight of 40.45 ounces, but we're going to stick with our original out-of-the-box weight of 39.75 ounces for this video, since that is the true, quote, brand new in-box measurement. The Arc Placard V3 with 3-magazine RAM elastic insert weighs an additional 7.25 ounces. This brings the total integrated weight of the Arc V2 with Arc Placard V3 to 47 ounces. In the show notes below, you'll find a link to our plate carrier weight calculator, part of our Insights blog found on QorePerformance.com. It contains weight data for all of the carriers in this plate carrier review series, including the Arc V2, along with weight data on armor, plate pouches, and more. It is a fantastic tool for education, purchasing, or even operational planning. You definitely want to check it out using the link below. An underappreciated technical consideration in modern plate carrier selection, wet weight has a massive negative impact on human performance. Whether rain, saltwater, or sweat, moisture is a constant presence in the field. In our testing, the wet weight of the Arc V2 tipped the scales at 60.70 ounces, with the plate bags, cummerbund, pontoons, pads, and straps. By comparison, the Crye Precision AVS wet weight came in at 70.95 ounces. The wet weight of the Arc V2 is 10.25 ounces, or 16% lighter than the wet weight of the AVS. Using Bowerman's formula to compare wet weight, we see that the Arc V2 will save you 1,353 pounds over the course of a mile when compared to using an AVS. If you haven't seen it, we have an article on the thermoregulation performance of spacer mesh in a linked article found in the show notes below. The results may surprise you. Like the AVS, the Arc V2 doesn't have hydration or conductive thermoregulation natively integrated. However, augmentation for this capability is simple. The interior loop of the Arc V2 accepts our IMS Pro combo for internally mounted conductive cooling, heating, and hydration. The outside of the rear plate bag is full moly, so running a traditional soft hydration bladder like Camelback or Source or an IMS combo for external hard cell hydration is easy. If your mission calls for the use of a pack, Shaw Concepts makes a plate carrier pack that fits an ice plate curve perfectly, but it also has an internal hydration pocket for soft bladder use. The Arc V2 shoulder pads are removable and can be replaced with IceVent's Aero Minimalist Plate Carrier shoulder pads or IceVent's Classic Heavy Loadout Plate Carrier shoulder pads, depending on your mission requirements and personal preferences. The Arc Cummerbund V2 is loop-lined, so it can also accommodate IceVent's Classic ventilation pontoons. Like all plate carriers with Velcro on the outside of the front plate bag, the Arc V2 is also compatible with our Ice Shield Plus plate carrier hand warmer. Thermal transmittance is the transfer of heat through matter or the body-facing section of a plate carrier plate bag. By nature, all kit insulates and traps heat. Yes, even our IcePlate EXO. To optimize performance in the field, find gear with the highest possible thermal transmittance, or the minimum amount of insulation. With the included pontoons, the Arc V2 has a baseline surface temperature of 77 degrees Fahrenheit. After inserting the ice plate curve directly from the freezer, what we call the ice plate inside surface temperature, the temperature shifted down to 75 degrees Fahrenheit. This is a temperature shift of 2 degrees Fahrenheit. There is a 30-degree shift in the center channel between the included pontoons. When the included pontoons are removed, the Arc V2 has a baseline surface temperature of 75 degrees Fahrenheit. With the ice plate curve inserted directly from the freezer, the temperature shifted down to between 40 and 65 degrees Fahrenheit, depending on the location. This is a shift of 10 to 30 degrees Fahrenheit, again, depending on the location where the FLIR reading was taken. The larger the thermal transmittance number, the more efficient the plate carrier is at expelling heat from your body carrier interface. If you'd like to see how the Shaw Concepts Arc V2 stacks up against other plate carriers, click the link in the show notes below so that you can see the full data tables. The Arc V2 is constructed from a variety of materials including plastic first spear tubes, metal rings, spacer mesh, with closed cell foam, first spear soft loop, regular loop, shock cord, Tigris, and one wrap. The Arc V2 is loaded with unique features: integrated cable routing and PTT retention, interface first spear 612 soft loop for pad mounting, and first spear quick release tubes which can be attached to the Arc placard. It also has a unique spider system on the plate bags which allows some flexibility in what shape and size armor plates you run in your plate bag, as well as a tight fit. The included pontoons feature a bottom retention flap that goes directly into the aperture of the plate bag for a smooth, rounded edge. The ARC Cummerbund V2 is structural, so it can be adopted to most plate carriers on the market, including our IcePlate XO. The list of attachment mechanisms for the ARC Carrier V2 includes Velcro and first spear loop, first spear tubes, MOLLE, shock cord, G-hooks, and swift clips. The sizing menu for the ARC V2 is short and sweet, small medium or large extra large. Colors include Multicam, Coyote, Ranger Green, Black, Wolf Gray, Multicam Arid, Multicam Tropic, and M81 Woodland. The ARC V2 has 6 inches overall cummerbund adjustment and 6 inches of shoulder adjustment. When it comes to plate bags, the small medium size fits small and medium SAPI plates, while the large extra large fits large and extra large SAPI plates. The ARC V2 is 100% made in the USA from US materials. Price. This is another area where the ARC V2 gives the Crye Precision AVS some serious competition. The ARC V2, complete with ARC Cummerbund V2, comes in at $500. Adding the ARC Placard V3 tacks on another $55, and the RAM elastic insert adds yet another $30 for a total of $585. So there you have it. The ARC V2 is technically lighter, retains less moisture, has better thermal transmittance, and is more affordable. Does it take the crown from the AVS? Let us know what you think in the comments below, and until next time, stay frosty.
Founded in 2006, Agilite is based in Tel Aviv, Israel. They are known for producing a range of tactical gear for the IDF as well as private individuals. They make both the K19 and the newer K-Zero. We reviewed the Agilite K19 previously here on our channel, and in response to viewer requests, we'll be providing an overview of the K-Zero today, in this technical plate carrier review. With so many requests for this review, the big question we want answered is how the K-Zero stacks up in today's plate carrier market. Stay tuned to this episode of Qore Performance Insights to find out. Starting with Ice Age ecosystem integration, the K-Zero is compatible with both IMS Versa and IMS, upgrading the K-Zero with the potential for cooling, heating, and hydration via IcePlate Curve. This integration greatly enhances human performance in austere environments and helps prevent temperature-related injuries such as heat stroke or hyperthermia. Conversely, attaching ice vents to the shoulder straps for standoff ventilation proved difficult but possible, as did routing the Source 90 drink tube for IcePlate Curve. Weight plays a crucial role in equipment selection. With a standard capacity 30-round magazine of 5.56 ammunition weighing approximately 1.08 pounds, lighter gear and carrying more magazines could be the tiebreaker for a life-threatening situation. The K-Zero on Agilite's website is listed at 1.74 pounds or 27.84 ounces. However, our independent real-world measurements for a size medium found it to actually weigh 1.92 pounds or 30.65 ounces. Its wet weight stands at 2.97 pounds, or 47.50 ounces. How does this compare to its peers? You can find previously reviewed plate carriers comparative data in our in-depth Best Plate Carriers of 2023 Insights blog article and video, and our upcoming Best Plate Carriers of 2024 article and video. Materials. The K-Zero features 500D Cordura mil-spec tactical nylon, laser-cut squadron laminate, laser-cut Velcro Moly overlay panels, and integral closed-cell comfort foam. Thermal transmittance. An often overlooked metric of plate carrier performance is thermal transmittance. With thermal transmittance, for our purposes, the quick explanation is that bigger numbers means greater ventilation of heat, while smaller numbers mean the carrier traps more heat. In simpler terms, thermal transmittance reflects how well the carrier can prevent overheating. Our baseline thermal reading for the K-Zero in a temperature-controlled environment with a ballistic plate installed comes out to 83 degrees Fahrenheit. Introducing the ice plate inside the K-Zero resulted in a temperature drop to 76 degrees Fahrenheit, amounting to a thermal shift of 7 degrees Fahrenheit. When compared to other plate carriers on the market from our Best Plate Carriers of 2023 shootout, the K-Zero fails here. For the full details on our thermal transmittance testing, check out our Best Plate Carriers 2023 article linked in the show notes below. Unique features. Agilite describes the K-Zero with a particular emphasis on its comfort, citing its proprietary V design, which they believe aids in the distribution of weight and reduction of pressure points. According to encyclopedia.com, comfort is defined as comfort, a state of physical ease and freedom from pain or constraint. In an effort to create an empirical value for comfort, we will break the concept of comfort down into its constituent components: size, weight, insulation, ventilation, and hydrophobic capability. Size. The K-Zero in a medium size measures 10.2 inches in width, has a height of 12.6 inches, and a maximum thickness of 1.25 inches. Weight. Earlier, we noted the K-Zero's dry weight as 1.92 pounds and a wet weight of 2.97 pounds. Insulation. The side of the K-Zero's plate bags that faces the body is primarily composed of a spacer mesh and foam padding. Our thermal transmittance test recorded a thermal shift of 7 degrees Fahrenheit, suggesting that the K-Zero offers considerable insulation. Ventilation. The K-Zero's emphasis on comfort and padding limits ventilation. The skeletonized cummerbund is the design's primary avenue for ventilation. Hydrophobic capability. Our tests indicate that the K-Zero absorbs up to 1.05 pounds of water weight. Based on the feedback we have received from our customers and our audience, we know there is a desire in the market for us to be able to rate comfort empirically. What are your thoughts on incorporating comfort via technical criteria into future reviews? What categories do you think we should include? Is our list adequate, or did we leave some important factors out? Let us know in the comments below so we can build a truly unbiased, market-driven, standardized, and objective way of measuring comfort for all the plate carriers on the market today. Attachment mechanisms. The K-Zero supports a range of attachment methods including Moly, Velcro, and Swift clips or G-hooks. Variety and sizing. Available in multicam, Ranger Green, Black, and Coyote, the K-Zero comes in medium and large sizes. Its adjustability spans from 35 to 56 inches for the cummerbund and 9 to 12 inches for the shoulders. Plate bags. In medium, the plate bags accommodate 10 by 12 SAPI profile medium plates. In size large, the plate bags accommodate large SAPI profile plates. Country of origin. Every K-Zero, while designed in Israel, is manufactured in Vietnam under Agilite's supervision. The K-Zero is not Berry compliant. It's worth noting that when inquiring about the Berry compliance status of the K-Zero, we reached out on a Tuesday at 2:03 p.m. Eastern Time and received a response the next day at 4:56 a.m. Eastern Time. Pricing for the K-Zero starts at $279 for the basic variants and goes up to $289 for the multicam variant. That's going to do it for our technical review of the Agilite K-Zero. We hope you enjoyed it and that our empirical approach was helpful. Stay tuned for our upcoming comprehensive Best Plate Carriers of 2024 Insights video and accompanying blog for side-by-side data comparisons of all the carriers we have reviewed in 2024. Qore Performance, signing off from our headquarters in Knoxville, Tennessee. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and pop those notifications. This really helps us create higher quality content for you in the future, and it ensures you are always in the loop for future technical review videos. Until next time, stay frosty.
In 2014, Velocity Systems launched what would be their new flagship plate carrier, the Scarab LT. If the Scarab LT looks but doesn't sound familiar, there are good reasons for that. A favorite of federal government law enforcement agencies everywhere, the Scarab LT enjoys a reputation as the plate carrier of choice at places like the Secret Service's Hammer Team. Numerous SWAT teams around the country also call the Scarab LT their own. With so many law enforcement agencies running the Scarab LT, especially at the federal level, the big question we want answered is, what makes the Velocity Systems Scarab LT the plate carrier of choice for federal and SWAT cops all over the country? Stay tuned to this episode of Qore Performance Insights to find out. So this is not a traditional review video like you would typically find on YouTube. And rather than sit here and bore you with all the details about how it's different and providing our experimental design disclosures, we put a link to all of that information in the show notes below. Just feel free to click that if you're interested. If not, let's get back to the review. Ice Age ecosystem integration is the first category we are going to cover since thermoregulation is the next night vision and Ice Age ecosystem integration is the genesis of this video series. For convective thermoregulation on the shoulders, the Scarab LT is a perfect host for our Ice Fence Aero minimalist plate carrier shoulder pads. Ice Fence Classic heavy loadout plate carrier shoulder pads could also be used if you're running a heavier load, but the super narrow width of the Scarab LT shoulder straps is ideally suited for Ice Fence Aero minimalist plate carrier shoulder pads with their ergonomic and patented contouring. When it comes to convective thermoregulation of the torso, the Scarab LT is another example of a modern carrier that cannot integrate Ice Fence Classic ventilation pontoons directly to the plate bags. However, we still have a solution in development called Catamaran to address this issue. While not as smooth as an organic integration like IcePlate EXO, Catamaran will allow all Scarab LT users to run Ice Fence under their plate bags easily. Setup takes just a couple of minutes. As far as conductive thermoregulation is concerned, the Scarab LT does not offer a viable solution to run IMS Pro inside the carrier without modification. However, this is another area where it is worth looking at Catamaran. While still in development, Catamaran will allow you to run IcePlate Curve inside your Scarab LT without modifying the plate bags. Again, it isn't as optimal as the organic ground-up integration built into IcePlate EXO, but it is a good capability bridge. For cold climates, our Ice Shield Plus with optional Level 3A soft armor insert can be integrated to keep your hands warm and your abdominal section protected in a highly mobile, flexible fashion. Much like temperature, weight impacts human performance in a persistent and significant way. The Scarab LT plate bags in size medium weigh in at 26.65 ounces. The Scarab LT Molly Cummerbund weighs in at 6.6 ounces. These two items together tip the scales at 33.25 ounces. This combination is the base configuration for the Scarab LT. In the show notes below, you'll find a link to our plate carrier weight calculator, part of our Insights blog found on QorePerformance.com. It contains weight data for all the carriers in this plate carrier overview series, along with the weight data on armor plates, pouches, and more. It is a fantastic tool for education, purchasing, or even operational planning. Wet weight is easily the most underappreciated technical consideration when it comes to modern plate carrier selection. Whether sweat or salt water, moisture retention has a massive negative impact on human performance. In our testing, the wet weight of the Scarab LT came out to 66.3 ounces. This is an increase of 49.9% over the dry weight. In comparison to the other plate carriers we have previously covered in this series, this is one of the more significant increases in weight. The entire interior lining of the Scarab LT plate bags is made of spacer mesh and foam. For additional details on the thermal performance characteristics of spacer mesh, check out the link below in the show notes to another Insights article that shows a number of different materials, including spacer mesh, under FLIR. It is a terrific and unique empirical look at how various materials used in plate carrier construction perform when it comes to managing the body heat we generate while wearing armor and kit. No guessing, no opinion, no pseudoscience, just sensors and data. Thermal transmittance is the transfer of heat through matter. In our case, that matter is the body-facing section of a plate carrier plate bag. Since kit is already insulating by nature, you want to find gear, especially plate carriers and body armor, that have the highest possible thermal transmittance. In other words, you want to find plate carriers and body armor that have the minimum amount of insulation. The baseline surface temperature of the Scarab LT measured at 72 degrees Fahrenheit. After inserting ice plate curve directly from the freezer, the temperature shifted down to 65 degrees Fahrenheit. This is a temperature shift of 7 degrees Fahrenheit. So what do these numbers mean? The smaller the spread between the baseline surface temperature and the ice plate inside surface temperature, the lower the thermal transmittance of that plate bag. The smaller the thermal transmittance number, the worse the carrier is at expelling heat from the interface between your body and the plate carrier. The larger the thermal transmittance number, the more efficient the plate carrier is at expelling heat from your body carrier interface. In other words, smaller numbers mean you run hotter, bigger numbers mean you run cooler. Small numbers bad, big numbers good. The Velocity System Scarab LT is built from materials regularly used in basic plate carriers today. 500D nylon, ultra-comp shoulder straps, spacer mesh, tweave, Velcro, plastic, elastic, and YKK zippers. When it comes to unique features, the Velocity Systems Scarab LT uses patented swivel shoulder straps with D-ring attachments combined with narrow ultra-comp shoulder straps. In theory, this should allow the shoulder straps to adjust and sit comfortably on any user. The Scarab LT also uses proprietary zip-on panels with a 13-inch Vislon 10V zipper. In our load testing, the D-ring design found on the Scarab LT does make some noise. In this sense, it is louder than a monolithic architecture found on plate carriers like the LV-119, JPC 2.0, and AVS. With a pair of level 3 armor plates and 3 full PMags, the Scarab LT read out at 69 decibels on our decibel meter when activating the swivel D-rings. The decibel meter was positioned to simulate at-the-ear noise level. We did not repeat this test on other carriers like the JPC 2.0, AVS, SPC, or LV-119 because they do not make any noise. The Velocity System Scarab LT uses industry-standard attachment mechanisms: Velcro, Molly, Swift clips or G-hooks, zip-on panels, Vislon YKK 10V, 13 inches in length. Sizing for the Scarab LT plate bags is as follows: small, medium, large, and extra large. The Scarab LT Molly cummerbund is available in the same sizes with the additional options of the basic Scarab LT Molly low-profile elastic with divider, or Molly with plate pocket. Both the plate bags and the cummerbund are offered in multicam, black, coyote, and ranger green. Shoulders have ample sizing adjustment for in-between sizes. One wrap is used to mount the cummerbund to the inside of the rear plate bag. The Scarab LT accepts SAPI and eSAPI plates in accordance with the size of the carrier, i.e. large carrier, large plates. It is designed for plates up to 1 inch thick. The country of origin, commonly abbreviated as COO, is an incredibly important consideration when it comes to plate carrier selection. COO is a dependable, but not absolute, indicator of innovation, quality, and craftsmanship. We reached out to Velocity Systems via email to ask where their Scarab LT plate carriers are made, and they had this to say, quote, "All of our products are 100% made in the U.S., and we make them in our production site in Northern Virginia," end quote. We reached out via email on Wednesday, November 9th, 2022 at 4:54 p.m. and received our reply Thursday, November 10th, 2022 at 2:35 p.m. Velocity Systems sells the Scarab LT complete with the Scarab LT cummerbund for $338. Here's how that compares to other plate carriers on the market today. So that's going to do it for our technical plate carrier overview of the Velocity Systems Scarab LT. We've compiled data and now published videos on 5 other plate carriers: the Crye JPC 2.0, the AVS, the SPC, the FCPC V5, and the LV-119. If you haven't checked those videos out, please do so. And we really want to know 2 things. How do you think that the Scarab LT stacks up against those carriers? And why do you think that the Scarab LT is a favorite of law enforcement agencies everywhere? Let us know down in the comments below. Can't wait to see what you guys come up with. And don't forget that to stay up to date with the latest in all aspect thermoregulation, follow us on Instagram at Qore Performance and sign up for our Launchpad emails, link in the show notes below. Until next time, I'm your host, Justin Lee. Stay frosty. At SHOT Show 2012, Crye Precision debuted the AVS, or Adaptable Vest System. The AVS would eventually replace the MBAV, or Modular Body Armor Vest, which was standard issue to some soft units at the time and already a decade old itself. The goal with the AVS was simple: full spectrum scalability, load carrying that could go from low vis to fully armored LBV. Now, roughly 11 years after the debut of the AVS, GWOT is over. Threats have changed. Focus has shifted, markets have evolved, and the world is a very different place than it was. Questions about how well the AVS has aged have started to emerge. So the big question now is, does the AVS have what it takes to be a contender in 2022 and beyond? Stay tuned to this episode of Qore Performance Insights to find out. A quick note on format. For those of you who are new to this series, this actually is not going to be a normal plate carrier review or review video like you might be accustomed to finding on YouTube. This actually started as a way for us answering customer questions that were asked regularly about how to integrate our thermoregulation and hydration tools from our Ice Age ecosystem. As such, our format is mostly empirical. It will attempt to be as quantitative and scientific as possible. While we're not perfect, we'll make every effort to avoid sharing qualitative opinions, conjecture, etc., basically anything that can't be considered absolute fact. You guys are professionals. Our job is to merely provide you with as much information as you need to make the best decisions to help you be the greatest version of yourself. Ice Age ecosystem integration is the first category we are going to cover, since thermoregulation is the next night vision and product integration is the genesis of these videos. The AVS is an ideal host platform for our IceFence Classic heavy loadout plate carrier shoulder pads. IceFence Classic will facilitate convective thermoregulation while distributing load using their unique cellular matrix honeycomb architecture. As for our AVS harness, it is as if it was made for our IceFence plate carrier ventilation pontoons. Since IceFence Classic plate carrier ventilation pontoons are hook-backed, they can be placed anywhere you want them inside the AVS harness, serving as direct one-to-one upgrades for the stock foam pads provided with the AVS. As many of you know, our IceFence technology is quite a bit different from foam, as it is 90% air by volume, antimicrobial at the molecular level, and has omnidirectional ventilation under load. The hook-receptive loop lining of the AVS harness is also ideal for mounting IMS Pro internally. This unique lining makes the AVS one of a select few plate carriers on the market today capable of running IMS Pro internally, like our IcePlate EXO. Under the armor mounting lets users take full advantage of the conductive thermoregulation plus hydration power of IcePlate Curve. If conductive thermoregulation is not feasible, our IMS combo fits perfectly on the back in either standalone configuration via MOLLE or riding under Crye's zip-on back panels for external hard cell hydration only. So YouTube is telling us that less than 10% of you guys who are watching this video are subscribed to the channel. If we could, we'd love to ask you to smash that subscribe, like, and notification button to help others get the information that they need to, well, be free. Weight matters because it is persistent and impacts human performance in ways that few other attributes can replicate. Dry, the AVS plate bags only tip the scales at 21.2 ounces. The AVS harness is even heavier than the plate bags themselves, coming in at 23.15 ounces. Add on the AVS detachable flap M4 at 4 ounces, and that brings the total weight of the AVS system you see here to 48.35 ounces. This makes the AVS the heaviest plate carrier we have reviewed to date by a significant margin. Wet weight is an underexamined and underappreciated technical consideration for plate carrier design and selection. The obvious reasons being maritime operations and, well, sweat. In our testing, the Crye Precision AVS weighs 70.95 ounces wet. This means the AVS gains 22.6 ounces when submerged. To put this in perspective, the AVS gains more water weight when submerged than the dry weight of the Ferro Concepts FCPC V5, Crye Precision SPC, or our Iceblade EXO. To learn more about plate carrier weight, you can check out the link below in our show notes, which will take you to our plate carrier weight calculator, something that is a very useful tool and that our team did a great job putting together. For those of you curious about our experimental design, all of our wet weight tests are conducted in our climate-controlled office to account for evaporation, sunlight, and other external factors that require consistency. As you might expect from a plate carrier designed more than 11 years ago, the AVS is built from fairly standard and traditional materials, all of which are made right here in America: nylon, Velcro, tweed, felt, hook-receptive loop, and metal. Like most modern plate carriers and armor systems, the AVS does not have any conductive or convective thermoregulation systems organically integrated into the design. Crye Precision offers foam pads that attach via Velcro all over the AVS. These pads add some standoff ventilation, but ultimately add to heat buildup because foam is an insulator commonly found in things like beverage coolers. This allows for easy mounting of ice vents and IMS Pro, as mentioned earlier in our Ice Age ecosystem integration segment. The AVS with harness is designed to disperse heavy loads across the user's entire back and shoulders. The AVS is also able to scale up or down to match the mission at hand with multiple configurations. AVS base configuration, strap; AVS plate carrier configuration, 2-band skeletal cummerbund; AVS assault configuration, 3-band skeletal cummerbund. The AVS utilizes Crye's zip-on back panel as well as the AVS-specific front bag flaps. The front plate bag of the AVS uses Airlite and AVS-specific placard mounting. On the backside, the rear plate bag sports PALS/MOLLE and the same YKK number 10 Vislon zipper adapters found on the JPC and the SPC for full interoperability within the Crye Precision family. As with the JPC and the SPC, this zipper length is proprietary to Crye, even though the number 10 YKK Vislon zipper is rather ubiquitous. The front plate bag does not have the ability to accept Swift Clip or G-Hook enabled placards out of the gate. The AVS comes in these sizes here: small, medium, large, and extra large. It also comes in the standard colorways that you see here: black, multicam, coyote, and ranger green. Crye Precision doesn't give sizing specifics, but pick the plate size that fits you and go with that size for the rest of the carrier. You have a generous amount of adjustability, but the harness will work best if you pick the correct size. While Crye Precision does not specifically state what plates fit in each plate bag, the sizing is roughly the same as standard ESAPI plate sizing and comes in small, medium, large, and extra large. Country of origin. The country of origin, commonly abbreviated as COO, is an incredibly important consideration when it comes to plate carrier selection. COO is a dependable but not absolute indicator of innovation, quality, and craftsmanship. According to the Crye Precision website, the AVS, like all Crye Precision products, is made right here in America from American materials. According to the Crye Precision website, pricing breaks down like this for the components we used and weighed in this video. The AVS is a bit of an outlier in that this selection represents a small sample of the AVS family of accessories, which is rather vast. The components we tested are the AVS standard plate pouch set, which comes in at $341.30, the AVS harness at $259.30, the AVS detachable flap M4 flat at $60.80, all of which combined to bring the grand total for these components to $661.40.
So that's going to do it for our technical overview of the Crye Precision AVS, or Adaptable Vest System. We hope you guys enjoyed it, found it helpful, and to stay up to date on all the latest in all aspect thermoregulation, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Qore Performance and subscribe to our Launchpad email list, link down below. I'm your host, Justin Lee, and until next time, stay frosty.
Hey everyone, Justin from Qore Performance here with an all-new Insights series on plate carriers. We get a ton of questions every day about recommendations for the most requested one we have is the Crye SPC, so let's get started. All right, so let's talk quickly about product integration, specifically ice vents. We get a lot of questions about this, tons of questions about this. So it's really, really simple. When it comes to the SPC's shoulder pads, the Crye SPC is compatible with both Ice Vent's Classic shoulder pads as well as Ice Vent's Aero shoulder pads. Given that the SPC is a more minimalist, though structural carrier, we recommend Ice Vent's Aero, but should you have a really, really heavy load on your SPC, then you're probably going to want to go with Ice Vent's Classic. When it comes to torso integration or the plate bag integration, the Crye SPC does not have a loop-lined plate bag, so you can't put Ice Vent's Classic ventilation pontoons on the plate bag like you can with Ice Plate EXO. A way you can kind of hack this, because the SPC has a kind of a mesh inner liner, is you can put Velcro, adhesive-backed Velcro, onto your armor plates, and then you can put the Ice Vent's Classic ventilation pontoons directly onto the armor and slide that entire assembly inside the plate bag, which will give you pretty good ventilation capability. Certainly will improve it over the standard SPC, because you will get that standoff created by the Ice Vent's Classic ventilation pontoons. The other cool thing is that the SPC's structural cummerbund will also accept the Ice Vent's Classic ventilation pontoons, just standard hook and loop interface. So lots of cool integrations there. All right, let's get on to one of the most important topics when considering what plate carrier you should buy for your application, and that's weight. So right here is a complete list of all of the items that are here on the table with their associated weights. Now, on their website, Crye claims that the SPC weighs just over 1 pound. That's their verbiage, not ours. You can check out with this screenshot here and the link below. However, everything that you see on camera, okay, which we'll list right here, weighs 22.9 ounces. For the record, 1 pound is actually this many ounces. All right, so let's talk about wet weight. This is an often overlooked subject, especially for people who are not working in a maritime environment all the time, but it's actually really important because it's also something that plays a role when you sweat a lot, and obviously all of us sweat a ton wearing kit. So how does wet weight play into the SPC? Well, we designed a very, very simple test. We submerged the SPC, or we're going to submerge all plate carriers in the future to the same exact test. We submerged the carrier for 60 minutes. You'll see the clock running here on the screen, and then we pull the carrier out at the end of 60 minutes and we let it drip dry for 60 seconds. Then we weigh the carrier wet, okay, after that 60-second drip dry. So you'll see that the SPC dry weighs 22.9 ounces, and after we pull it out of the water for 60 seconds of drip drying, then it weighs 34.9 ounces. So it gains basically 12 ounces of water weight with a 60-minute exposure and a 60-second drip dry. So for those of you wondering about the experimental design, we did all of these tests in our office, which is air conditioned and climate controlled to 71 degrees Fahrenheit. We made sure that we controlled for solar exposure, wind, etc. So the only variable was the water. Okay, let's move on to materials, an often glossed over topic. Now, the main material that is used to build the SPC is a laminate actually, called Airlite. Airlite is Crye's trade name for a product that is actually made by a company called Trelleborg. Now, we're not going to dive too much into that, but if you guys want us to do a future video just on laminates, let us know in the comments below and we'll see what we can do. Moving on throughout the rest of the SPC, we have Tigris, Airlite, and Velcro making up the structural cummerbund. We have YKK zippers, we have tweave, and then we also have nylon webbing. We also have elastic here in the plate bag. So all in all, high quality materials. On to thermoregulation and hydration. So this is arguably the most important category for the future of infantry fighting systems. And what does that mean for the SPC? Well, first we're going to look at what type of ventilation does it have built into it. The SPC on the inside of the plate bags has a type of spacer mesh. So if you want to see a scientific analysis of spacer mesh, just go ahead and click the link below for a deeper dive into spacer mesh's exact thermoregulatory performance. And as for conductive, so what we were just talking about is convection. When we're talking about conduction for thermoregulation, the SPC is not compatible with our IMS Pro for wear on the inside of your plate bag. So it's not able to deliver any type of conductive cooling or heating under armor. However, it does have an all MOLLE compatible back with some Velcro, so you can mount IMS Pro or IMS to the outside for external hard cell hydration. That same MOLLE obviously can take any type of camelback or source bladder as well. All right, on to a really cool category that we kind of geek out over, which is unique features. What unique features does the SPC have? Well, it's kind of cool because the SPC actually gives you the versatility and mobility of the JPC, but in a structural package that is similar in capability to the AVS. And the whole thing, when you look at it especially, you can tell it was designed with maritime operations in mind. And again, still gives you that flexibility of the JPC. It's a pretty good combination. Another one of the SPC's really cool unique features that it shares with the JPC is the quick release technology found on the shoulder straps as well as in the cummerbund. So this is a patented technology that where Crye owns the IP, which is why nobody else does it, which is really cool. But it's a really neat, innovative feature. Works very, very well. It's very, very simple, and it really can't break on you. So pretty cool, unique attribute there. Okay, onto attachment mechanisms. Pretty important consideration. In today's world of super modular, this is where the SPC kind of is a little bit different. We'll leave it at that. So if you want to attach anything to the front plate bag of an SPC, you only have really 3 options, 2 of which belong entirely to Crye. So option number 1 is you can pick an Airlite specific placard or MOLLE placard like this one that we show here, okay? If you don't want that, you want to go straight to pouches, you can get a pouch from their AVS line. Both AVS and Airlite pouches are interchangeable. The third option, if you want to run a modern Swift Clip compatible placard, you can't do it with a stock SPC. You actually have to go to a third party. Axle Advanced makes a kit that we'll show right here that allows you to run Swift Clip placards. Excuse me. Onto the back plate bag. The rear plate bag is pretty simple. PALS, MOLLE, or the Crye zip-on back panel standard. Again, that is specific to Crye, so it is proprietary. It does use a YKK zipper, but the length is unique to Crye, so you're gonna have to buy Crye-specific accessories. That's pretty much it for attachment mechanisms. All right, next topic is variety. What the heck is variety? Well, it's really simple. Sizes that the SPC comes in are here. Colors that the SPC is available in are here. That's it. Let's move on to sizing and adjustability, a super, super important question because if it doesn't fit, you can't really use it. It's going to kind of suck out in the field. Now, for reference, I stand 5'8" and weigh 178 pounds. I wear a medium plate. Phil, who's behind the camera, also wears a medium. So this SPC, which belongs to Phil, is a medium. However, very important, you got to get your cummerbund a size down. So this is actually a small, and to be honest, it's still pretty big on both of us. So just keep that in mind when you are buying your cummerbund to go with your plate bags. Other things to consider, the shoulder straps are adjustable for size, and the elastic also allows for some adjustability or variability in the plate bags. So just a couple of things to consider, and that one nuance with the SPC when it comes to the cummerbund sizing. Okay guys, let's get on to plate bags. So the plate bags accept standard SAPI and eSAPI geometries for your armor plates. There's also an option for swimmer cut specific plate bags if you want that, and it comes in all of these standard sizes. Pretty straightforward. All right, so let's get started with price. We don't always feel it's the most important consideration, but we do know that it's very popular and people are going to want to know it. So to get things exactly right, I'm just going to read directly from my notes because there are a lot of particulars here and we don't want to lead anyone astray. So $252 gets you the plate bags plus the cummerbund. The plate bags are $169 by themselves. The Airlite cummerbund is $83. The Airlite Molly flap, which is right here, $29.60. And the AVS detachable flap, triple M4, yes, this piece of nylon right here, is $101. All right, guys, so that pretty much wraps up our review of the Crye SPC. We hope that was really helpful, guys. We hope that you enjoyed this. We've been trying to keep it to an abridged format, so if you like it, please give us a thumbs up below. It really helps us out. Drop a comment below also to let us know about the feedback and the questions we asked during the video. That also really helps us with the YouTube algos so that more people who need this knowledge can have it brought to them. Until then, guys, stay frosty. We'll catch you next time.
The AC-1 Minimalist Plate Carrier is part of T.Rex Arms' mission statement to inspire, educate, and equip serious citizens. Released in late 2020, the AC-1 was intended to scale to an individual's needs from a low-profile setup to an overt but not full-duty setup. There is a big difference, as required. T.Rex Arms has had an undeniable cultural impact in proliferating the concept of a highly trained civilian populace. But how does the AC-1 hold up against the many other plate carrier offerings on the market today? Stay tuned to this episode of Qore Performance Insights to find out. Thermoregulation is the genesis of our Insights video series due to the monumental impact core body temperature has on human performance. So we'll be starting with Ice Age ecosystem integration on the AC-1. The AC-1 lacks the Velcro loop found on other plate carriers like our Ice Plate EXO, Shaw Concepts Arc V2, or the Crye Precision AVS that are needed to readily add ice vents to the interior of the plate bags to dramatically improve airflow, provide standoff ventilation, and promote evaporative cooling. Instead, the AC-1 opts to use a thin strip of spacer mesh along the center of the front and rear plate bags. If you haven't already seen it, we have a detailed article on the performance characteristics of spacer mesh on our Insights blog, for which we have included a link in the show notes below. While the AC-1 does come with what T.Rex calls low-profile shoulder pads, the padding seems to be very thin foam. Fortunately, both IceVent's Aero and IceVent's Classic shoulder pads can be easily added to the AC-1 for continuous airflow under load and greater long-term wear comfort. Finally, our IcePlate Curve cooling, heating, and hydration powerhouse can be integrated internally via our new IMS Versa.
Following temperature and environmental conditions, weight is the next biggest factor impacting human capability. The AC-1 weighs 17.05 ounces dry, in size medium, with cummerbund and no placard or additional pouches. This comes the closest amongst the plate carriers we've tested so far to our IcePlate XO, which tips the scales at 12.9 ounces in side strap configuration or 16 ounces in Molle cummerbund configuration when dry. Wet, the carrier's weight remains comparable, with the AC-1 coming in at 26.65 ounces, or just 0.15 ounces heavier than the IcePlate XO wet weight, which is 26.5 ounces in Molle cummerbund configuration. Even though the AC-1 is designed with prepared civilians in mind and not built to be a full-duty military plate carrier, these are impressive results to be sure. For full details on how other plate carriers compare, check out our Best Plate Carriers of 2023 video and the accompanying Ice Age Insights article by the same name. Links to both are in the show notes below. The AC-1 was intended to equip as many serious citizens as possible with the means to wear body armor. With mass proliferation in mind, it's worth analyzing the materials used to construct a plate carrier intended for the modern-day Minuteman. These materials are largely very conventional choices popular amongst manufacturers: nylon, hook and loop, laminate, tweave, elastic, and spacer mesh. Thermal transmittance is the transfer of heat through matter. For our purposes, the matter through which the heat is being transferred is the body-facing portion of the plate bags. Since kit is already insulating by nature, to defeat heat exhaustion, you want to find plate carriers and body armor with the highest possible thermal transmittance. In other words, you want to find plate carriers with the least amount of insulation. Our baseline thermal reading for the AC-1 in a temperature-controlled environment with ballistic plate installed comes out to 75 degrees Fahrenheit. After inserting a frozen ice plate curve, the average temperature was 47 degrees Fahrenheit, or a thermal transmittance of 28 degrees. This is an impressive performance by the AC-1. In fact, the AC-1 outperformed every other plate carrier in our 2023 testing except our IcePlate XO. Let's take a look at where the AC-1 would have ranked had it been in our 2023 testing lineup. So what does this information in this table mean? Well, for those unfamiliar with our previous technical reviews, and to break it down for the non-nerds out there, the smaller number between the baseline surface temperature and the ice plate inside surface temperature, the lower the thermal transmittance of that plate bag. This means the plate carrier is worse at expelling heat from the interface between your body and the plate carrier. Conversely, the larger the thermal transmittance number, the more efficient the plate carrier is at expelling heat from your body carrier interface. To really simplify, smaller numbers mean you run hotter, bigger numbers mean you run cooler. Primarily, the AC-1 excels as a minimalist slick design for emergency and quick access civilian use. The AC-1 features a utilitarian elastic cummerbund that is 4 inches high and has 6 open-top pouches total. 2 2.5-inch pouches, 2 3-inch pouches, and 2 4-inch pouches. The 2-inch pouches can fit small radios and tourniquets. The 3-inch pouches can fit 5.56 mags, and the 4-inch pouches can fit 308 mags and also larger medical supplies. A feature that allows newer shooters ready access to a useful plate carrier without the need to purchase and experiment with many different pouches, the elastic cummerbund also keeps the carrier slick when these pouches are empty. The AC-1 firmly places itself within the minimalist carrier category with the lack of Molle on the plate bags. This is partly how the AC-1 achieves the desired price point below $200, as Molle is expensive to create. Instead, the AC-1 opts to use swift clips or G-hooks to mount placards on the front and limited hook and loop panels elsewhere. For colors and camo patterns, the AC-1 comes in multicam, multicam arid, ranger green, wolf gray, and black. The 3 sizes the AC-1 comes in feature varying levels of adjustability based on torso measurements. The small adjusts from 30 inches to 56 inches, the medium adjusts from 32 inches to 58 inches, and the large adjusts from 34 inches to 60 inches. For sizes, the AC-1 is available in small plates, medium plates, and large plates. T.Rex Arms breaks this down on the AC-1 product page with SAPI sizing, single or multi-curve shooter or swimmer plate sizing, and a separate chart for various HESCO plate sizing. The country of origin, or COO as it is sometimes abbreviated, is a dependable indicator of factors competent consumers should be aware of. These factors include innovation, quality, and craftsmanship. The AC-1 has an interesting history, with an earlier release humorously named the AC Uno due to a mishap with a third-party manufacturer building AC-1s in Mexico. This was contrary to the T.Rex Arms contract with this third party to have them be entirely Berry compliant. Berry compliant, for those of you that don't know, means it's made entirely in the USA by American-owned manufacturers. These AC Unos, as it were sold at a discount, and marketing made it very clear what the consumer was getting. As of the release of this video and following this mishap, T.Rex Arms does not have any mention of the current AC-1 being Berry compliant on the product page. However, after reaching out to the T.Rex Arms team via email, they responded to us within one business day, assuring us that despite past issues, the AC-1 is now made in USA and Berry compliant. The final data point is price. The AC-1 without any additional components is a very affordable $160 to $165, with solid colors costing a bit less and multicam a slight premium. When we compare this with other plate carriers on the market, we see that the price point is very much in line with the previously mentioned mission statement of T.Rex Arms: to inspire, educate, and equip serious citizens. We will offer the caveat that for a full load-bearing plate carrier setup, the AC-1 may disappoint with the lack of a structural cummerbund, stiff composite materials, load-bearing shoulder pads, hydration integration, or organic thermoregulation. However, it is important to note that these are characteristics of full-duty plate carriers. The AC-1 is built for the modern-day Minuteman. Prudence dictates that you should take all relevant data for the intended use case when deciding what plate carrier, though, is right for you. That's all we've got on the T.Rex Arms AC-1, but be sure to check out our other videos in our Ice Age Insights technical review series covering both plate carriers and gun belts, as well as our other Insights articles over at coreperformance.com or available in the links in the show notes below. Before we go, we'd love to hear from you in the comments below if you own an AC-1. What do you like or dislike about the carrier, and what other plate carriers would you like to see us do a technical review of? Be sure to subscribe to our channel for more technical review videos and knowledge drops to help us realize our vision for building a superhuman future together. Until next time, stay frosty. At the end of our Plate Carriers 2022 video, we asked y'all which plate carriers you wanted us to review next. While the Crye Precision SPC topped the list, the Agilite K-19 came in a strong second, just behind the SPC. As some of you may know, we have the incredible privilege of being able to collaborate with the best companies in each of the markets that we serve: military, law enforcement, safety and devices, sport, and aviation. We have an extensive library of kit that we use to make sure that our Ice Age ecosystem integrates smoothly with the best products in use by professionals and civilians the world over. Despite this, none of us had ever heard of the K-19 prior to these requests. In fact, we had to look it up. In doing so, we learned quite a bit, and we're going to share everything that we learned in our evaluation process during the course of this video, including the debut of a new segment called Thermal Transmission, where we demonstrate the ability of a plate carrier to efficiently deal with heat. We can't wait to share it with you, and you are not going to want to miss it. While there's already a lot of reviews out there for the K-19, together in this video, we are going to figure out, does the K-19 live up to the hype? Stay tuned to this episode of Core Performance Insights to find out. Ice Age ecosystem integration is the first category we are going to cover, since thermoregulation is the next night vision, and Ice Age ecosystem integration is the genesis of this video series. The shoulder pads on the Agilite K-19 measure approximately 2 inches thick from body side to world side, making them not just the thickest shoulder pad on any plate carrier we've reviewed to date, but the thickest shoulder pad on any plate carrier we have ever seen. If anyone has seen a thicker shoulder pad on a plate carrier, please let us know in the comments below and we'll update our data. When it comes to convective thermoregulation, the K-19 is challenging because it is lined entirely with spacer mesh covered foam. While the spacer mesh construction of the Agilite K-19 shoulder pads would benefit greatly from our ice fence technology, the thickness of the shoulder pad alone makes integration difficult. That said, our Ice Fence Classic heavy loadout plate carrier shoulder pads can be attached. Just be aware that this will create a shoulder pad that is 2¼ inches thick. 2 inches from the K19 shoulder pads, and 1/4 inch from the Ice Fence Classic. The Agilite K19 shoulder pads have a uniform width of 3 inches, eliminating some of the greatest benefits of our contoured Ice Fence Aero minimalist plate carrier shoulder pads, which use a 50% taper from 3 inches down to 1.5 inches to preserve full range of motion while ventilating and distributing load. We do not recommend using our Ice Fence Aero minimalist plate carrier shoulder pads with the K19 because the uniform width of the K19 shoulder pads negates the contour advantage of Ice Fence Aero. As for conductive thermoregulation, the Agilite K19 is the most difficult platform integration we've reviewed to date. Since the Agilite K19 plate bag liners are made entirely of spacer mesh, they do not have any loop Velcro, MOLLE, or laser cut maps. There is no way to integrate our IMS Pro combo like on our IcePlate EXO or the Crye Precision AVS. This means the K19 cannot take advantage of any of the conductive cooling, heating, hydration capabilities of IcePlate Curve. There are only 2 members of our Ice Age ecosystem which integrate with the K19, the IMS Combo and the Ice Shield Plus plate carrier hand warmer. For those who are not familiar with the IMS Combo, it enables any MOLLE-equipped plate carrier to take advantage of 1.5 liters or 50 ounces of hard cell hydration in a slim form factor that is conformal to a medium ESAPI plate at just 1 inch thin. Much like temperature, weight impacts human performance in a persistent and significant way, but you may not be familiar with some of the science on the subject, which comes principally from Nike co-founder and legendary University of Oregon track and field coach Bill Bowerman. Part of the original PW era Nike, Bowerman discovered that removing just 1 ounce from a shoe eliminates 55 pounds of lift over the distance of 1 mile when calculated using the gait of a 6-foot-tall runner. This table shows how the K19 stacks up against the leading plate carriers on the market today in terms of dry weight. As you can see, the K19 is nearly twice as heavy as the leading plate carriers on the market today. The FCPC V5 by Ferro Concepts comes in at 21.6 ounces, while the SPC from Crye Precision comes in at 22.9 ounces, and Crye Precision's JPC 2.0 comes in at 22.95 ounces. The Agilite K19, as you can see here, comes in at 41.6 ounces dry. For additional context using Bowerman's formula, this table shows how much weight savings you would get if you used any of these carriers in lieu of the K19 in terms of lift effort over the course of 1 mile. In other words, you'd save 2,461.8 pounds over the course of 1 mile if you used a Crye Precision JPC 2.0 instead of a K19. You'd save 2,640 pounds over the course of 1 mile if you used a Ferro Concepts FCPC V5 instead of a K19. You'd save 2,699.4 pounds over the course of 1 mile if you used a Crye Precision SPC instead of a K19. In the show notes below, you'll find a link to our plate carrier weight calculator, which can be found in the Insights section of our website. It contains weight data for all of the carriers in this plate carrier overview series, along with weight data on armor plates, pouches, and more. Wet weight is easily the most underappreciated technical consideration when it comes to modern plate carrier selection. Whether sweat or saltwater, moisture retention has a massive negative impact on human performance. In our testing, the wet weight of the Agilite K19 came to 62.8 ounces. This table shows how the wet weight of the K19 stacks up against those same leading plate carriers from the dry weight testing. The Ferro Concepts FCPC V5 comes in at 31.5 ounces, while Crye Precision's SPC comes in at 34.9 ounces and the JPC 2.0 at 39.6 ounces. The Agilite K19 comes in as the heaviest plate carrier at 62.8 ounces. Much like dry weight, the K19 is significantly heavier than other leading plate carriers on the market today when wet. As an example, the K19 is 45% heavier than the JPC 2.0 when wet. Let's take another look at Bowerman's formula to see what type of weight and effort savings you would get if you used any of these carriers in lieu of the K19 in terms of lift effort over the course of 1 mile. In other words, you'd save 3,062 pounds over the course of 1 mile if you used a Crye Precision JPC 2.0 instead of a K19. You'd save 3,682 pounds over the course of 1 mile if you used a Crye Precision SPC instead of a K19. You'd save 4,131 pounds over the course of 1 mile if you used a Ferro Concepts FCPC V5 instead of a K19. Like most modern plate carriers and armor systems, the K-19 does not have any natively integrated thermoregulation or hydration systems in the design. According to the Agilite website, quote, "The rear of the K-19 plate bags have a triple layer of low-profile foam," end quote, embedded in them. Foam is an insulating material, which is why it is used as insulation in things like beverage coolers. When it comes to hydration, you can molly any standard plate carrier hydration system onto the back of a K-19, like our IMS Combo or any molly-capable offering from Camelback, Source, or other manufacturers. To quantify the thermoregulation capabilities of plate carriers, we're introducing a new segment starting with this video called Thermal Transmittance. Don't worry, we're going to conduct this test for all plate carriers we've already reviewed to keep things perfectly consistent. So what exactly is thermal transmittance, and why should any of us care? What does it have to do with plate carriers? Thermal transmittance is the transfer of heat through matter. In our case, the matter is the body-facing section of a plate carrier plate bag. If a wall or plate bag is well insulated, it will have low thermal transmittance. This is ideal for a home, car, or cold weather jacket as they are designed to protect you from the elements. If that same wall or plate bag is poorly insulated, it will have high thermal transmittance. This is ideal for active or athletic apparel. Think running clothes, PT gear, combat uniforms, or anything you wear when under heavy athletic exertion where your body needs to dump excess heat generated from effort. Since kit is already insulating by nature, you want to find gear, especially plate carriers and body armor, that have the highest possible thermal transmittance. In other words, you want to find plate carriers and body armor that have the minimum amount of insulation. This will allow your body's natural thermoregulation mechanisms to work as efficiently as possible. Preserving this natural function decreases the possibility of you becoming a heat casualty, keeping you in the fight and increasing survivability for you and your team. Some plate carriers and hydration packs, like our IcePlate EXO and IMS Pro Combo, can even augment your body's natural thermoregulation mechanisms, boosting your performance in the process. We'll cover thermal transmittance, thermal resistance, heat transfer coefficients, and much more later in this Insights video series. In the meantime, if you'd like to learn the basic methods of heat transfer and how they apply to your gear, check out the awesome infographics we put together in our Insights blog article titled The Methods of Heat Transfer. It's linked in our show notes below. To measure the thermal transmittance of a plate carrier, this will be our experimental design. First, we used our FLIR camera to take the surface temperature reading of the body-facing side of the plate bag at room temperature. Next, we placed a single ice plate curve fresh out of the freezer into the plate bag of each plate carrier. Then, once we've closed the plate bag, we'll place a Tenkate Level 3 hard armor plate on top of the plate bag for 30 seconds to simulate the effect of putting on the plate carrier. We are using a shorter exposure time to make sure we test efficiency and not capacity. Finally, we'll remove the Tenkate Level 3 hard armor plate from the subject plate bag and take a new FLIR surface temperature reading. Here's what we discovered. The baseline surface temperature of the Crye SPC is 69 degrees. The ice plate inside surface temperature of the Crye SPC is 55 degrees. The Ferro Concepts FCPC V5 had a baseline surface temperature of 75.8 degrees with an ice plate inside surface temperature of 67 degrees. The JPC 2.0 has a baseline surface temperature of 75.9 degrees with an ice plate inside surface temperature of 55 degrees. The AVS was super interesting because it has different front and rear plate bags. The baseline surface temperature of the front plate bag was 76 degrees, while the ice plate inside surface temperature of the front plate bag was 67 degrees. However, the AVS's rear plate bag has a baseline surface temperature of 75 degrees with an ice plate inside surface temperature of just 71 degrees. The Agilite K-19 has a baseline surface temperature of 75.6 degrees with an ice plate inside surface temperature of 70.9 degrees. What do these numbers mean? The smaller the spread between the baseline surface temperature and the ice plate inside surface temperature, the lower the thermal transmittance of that plate bag. Plate carriers with these readings will trap and retain more heat, making you hotter. The larger the spread between baseline surface temperature and the ice plate inside surface temperature, the higher the thermal transmittance of that plate carrier. Plate bags with these larger spreads are better at removing heat to let your body's natural thermoregulation mechanisms work as normally as possible. The Agilite K-19 has a spread of 4.7 degrees Fahrenheit, while the Crye Precision SPC has a spread of 14 degrees Fahrenheit. The K-19 has nearly the same spread as the Crye Precision AVS rear plate bag, but without the load-bearing capability of the AVS harness. The Agilite K-19 is built from materials regularly used in basic plate carriers today: 1000D Cordura, mil-spec polymer, hook and loop, nylon, and spacer mesh. When it comes to unique features, the K-19 is loaded for bear. Whether or not these unique features add value for you and your application is another question altogether, and one only you can answer, but hopefully this data will help. Agilite touts its Israeli roots and IDF work as a USP, or unique selling proposition. How much credibility should you give this USP? Well, that is up to you and your specific objective functions, but we'd encourage you to do your own independent research into things like wars in which the IDF has been involved to decide how credible or not credible you see this particular USP. The first unique feature we noticed about the K-19 is the front shoulder strap attachment mechanism. The front plate bag has a 6-inch strip of loop Velcro that faces the body. Theoretically, this is so the shoulder straps can be adjusted for fit. However, this feature adds an additional 3/4 of an inch of thickness to the front plate bag, and that is in addition to the thickness of the front plate bag itself, which is already 0.5 inches thick at the thinnest point we could find. And that's without an armor plate inside. The K-19 features 4 quick-release buckles, 2 on the shoulders and 2 on the cummerbund. These are not first spear tubes, but rather a model with which we are not familiar and could not easily identify from anything in our sample library. Agilite does not provide specifics on their website. The female receiver buckles for the cummerbund are permanently attached to the K-19 plate bag, while the female buckles for the shoulder straps can be removed. The cummerbund is also unique to the K-19. Constructed of simple nylon webbing, the cummerbund attaches to the front plate bag using the aforementioned mystery quick-release buckle. On the rear plate bag, the cummerbund is secured using branded G-hooks. The webbing cummerbund consists of 3 rows and 3 columns of MOLLE up front, but no MOLLE anywhere else. Instead, the back of the cummerbund has 2 strands of webbing used for sizing, adjustment, and stretch. Kind of. As you can see, the cummerbund has just a 1/4 inch of stretch on each side. The amount of stretch is not adjustable. It is also worth noting that for individuals who are roughly 5'8" to 6 feet tall and weigh anywhere from 165 to 200 pounds with 40 to 42 inch chests, you will be left with spare webbing that measures roughly 1 inch thick when secured with the included keepers. The K-19 also features a pair of webbing loops roughly 3/4 of the way up with a corresponding pair on the bottom of the plate bag, which are used for Agilite's backpack, called the AMAP 3. Last but certainly not least, the K-19 features wings on the side of the front plate bag that measure approximately 1.5 inches wide by 6 inches tall. The intent here is supposed to make the quick-release buckles more comfortable. Since our video format takes a purely empirical approach, we won't comment on whether or not they are comfortable since that is purely subjective. However, we can say that objectively, this additional spacer mesh and foam will insulate and trap more body heat, which will degrade performance in the field. The Agilite K-19 uses industry-standard attachment mechanisms: Velcro, Swift Clip, G-hook, MOLLE. When it comes to variety, the K-19 comes in one size, which Agilite classifies as medium/large. It is offered in multicam, Ranger Green, Wolf Gray, multicam Black, Black, and Coyote. According to the Agilite website, the K-19 is a one-size-fits-all plate carrier that will fit all body types, shapes, and sizes. Agilite says the K-19 has a one-size-fits-most plate bag design. It can accept small, medium, or large SAPI/eSAPI armor plates up to 1.5 inches thick. Further, Agilite says the K-19 fits 10 by 12 plates, however, XL size plates will not fit. The country of origin, commonly abbreviated as COO, is an incredibly important consideration when it comes to plate carrier selection. COO is a dependable but not absolute indicator of innovation, quality, and craftsmanship. The packaging and the hang tag on the K-19 were devoid of any country of origin markings. The hang tag says designed in Israel, but it made no mention of where the K-19 is manufactured. In our effort to be as impartial as possible, we did what no mainstream media outlet will ever do: reach out to the source for comment. We submitted our query on 27 October and received a reply 2 days later on 29 October. Agilite told us the K-19 is manufactured in Israel and Vietnam, with their own people supervising production and quality. Agilite also told us that the specs are the same in both Israel and Vietnam, and that they import the same materials from the USA to both Israel and Vietnam. In examining the packaging, however, there is no indication of where each K-19 is manufactured. It might be Israel, it might be Vietnam, but either way, it is not disclosed on an individual basis, at least not in a way that we could find. Agilite sells the K-19 for $289 for the plate carrier itself, while the pincer placard is an additional $69.90. Here's how that compares to other carriers on the market today. The JPC comes in at $241.90, the SPC at $252, the K19 at $289, as previously mentioned, the FCPC V5 at $385, and the AVS at $661.40. So that's going to do it for our plate carrier overview of the Agilite K19. We hope that all of the data and the information that we shared was helpful and useful. But we really want to know, what do you think? Does the K19 live up to the hype, and how does it stack up against the JPC 2.0, the SPC, and the FCPC V5? Let us know down in the comments below. And to keep up with all of the latest in all aspect thermoregulation, don't forget to follow us on Instagram on our feed at Qore Performance, and also to join our Launchpad email list so that we can build a superhuman future together. I'm your host, Justin Lee, and until next time, stay frosty. Hey everyone, Justin from Qore Performance here with the third installment in our Insights series of plate carrier overviews. Today we're covering the FCPC V5 by Ferro Concepts. For those of you who are new to this series, it started as a way of us answering questions that we kept getting from customers about how to run our thermoregulation and hydration tools with various plate carriers around the market. As such, our format is objective and quantitative. We make every effort to avoid subjective, qualitative, or any type of opinion sharing. You guys are professionals. Our job is merely to provide you the information that you need to make the best decision for yourself, to help you become the greatest version of yourself. So speaking of getting liberty-minded people the information that they need, YouTube is telling us that just 94.3% of you who are watching this video are subscribed to our channel. So be a friend of freedom, smash that subscribe button, then slide on over, give us a like, and help more freedom-loving and liberty-minded people get the information that they need to, well, be free. Product integration, the topic of this video, or at least how these videos started. So the FCPC V5 is a minimalist style carrier, and as such is compatible with IceFence Aero minimalist plate carrier shoulder pads. Yes, you can run IceFence Classic, but the IceFence Aero are designed specifically for minimalist plate carriers like the FCPC V5. Now the FCPC V5 does not have any loop or moly or laser cut maps on the inside of its plate bags. As such, you cannot run IMS Pro on the inside of the plate bags for conductive thermoregulation. You can run IMS Pro on the outside using the moly field that is present on the rear plate bag. You can also run IMS, which is a dedicated external carrier for ice plate if you just want external hard cell hydration. The 3-inch assault cummerbund is also loop lined, so it accepts our IceFence Classic ventilation pontoons in a really convenient and clean form. Since the FCPC V5 is compatible with both Swift clips and G-hooks, it will work with our IcePlate Exo Moly placard, which also accepts both Swift clips and G-hooks. The FCPC V5, finally, is also compatible with our Ice Shield Plus plate carrier hand warmer. Next up is weight. Now, ounces equal pounds and pounds equal pain. We've all heard it. No piece of kit amplifies this truth more than a plate carrier. Arguably maybe rucks, but for the purposes of this video, plate carriers, this is a huge deal. So to get these details exactly right, and there's a lot of them and they're pretty specific and we don't want to get this wrong, I'm just going to read directly from the screen that's behind the camera. The FCPC V5 base plate bags weigh 15.05 ounces. But they're advertised at 15.2 ounces. The 3-inch assault cummerbund, this thing down here, weighs 6.55 ounces and is advertised at 7.2 ounces. Now when you combine the plate bags and the 3-inch assault cummerbund, you get a dry weight for the FCPC V5 of 21.6 ounces. Now, here's what's funny. The Ferro Concepts website says 22.4 ounces, so the FCPC V5 is actually lighter than advertised on Ferro's website. While Ferro Concepts does not list the specific weights of each component that we have mentioned here or any other part of their system, we have gone ahead and weighed each of the parts individually, and we've done it based on their photography. So if you want to take a closer look at all of this, we've broken it out. We've broken basically all the weights of the different components out on our plate carrier weight calculator, and we will put a link to that down in the show notes below. So go ahead and click that, and then you can see all the individual component weights to all of the plate carriers that we're going to do. Component of plate carrier consideration is wet weight. However, this is actually super important even if you're not operating in a maritime environment for one simple reason. We all sweat, some of us more than others, and some of us sweat more in some kits more than others depending on the design. So to get the following figures exactly right, I'm again going to read directly from the screen because we want to be super precise when it comes to dry and wet weights. The FCPC V5 plate bags together plus a 3-inch assault cummerbund come out to 31.5 ounces wet compared to a dry weight of 21.6 ounces. Now, if you guys are wondering what our experimental design is, it's exactly the same one that we used for the Crye Precision Airlite SPC, and it's going to be exactly the same one that we use for every single plate carrier during this Insights series. And that is that we submerge the carrier in water for 60 minutes. And then we pull the carrier out of the water, we let it drip dry, hang dry for 60 seconds. Then we take the weight of the carrier right after that. It is worth noting that we do this entirely in our office to correct for external variables so that wind, sunlight, and temperature do not affect these tests. Our office, as I'm sure you can imagine, is enclosed and it is climate controlled at 70 or 71 degrees Fahrenheit depending on the day, but it's never more than 1. Materials. The FCPC V5 is built from pretty standard materials. Nylon, 500D Cordura laminate. Worth noting that Ferro does not get more specific than that exact language that we just used right there. It also uses Velcro, tweave, metal here, and some plastic. The 3-inch assault cummerbund is also made from pretty simple materials like nylon, T.Rex, Velcro, and elastic. And thermoregulation becoming increasingly hot topics in defense circles, we're going to make sure that we cover this section, thermoregulation and hydration, in every plate carrier overview video that we do. The FCPC V5 is not compatible with our IMS Pro combo, and that is because the inside of these plate bags don't have any loop Velcro, and they don't have MOLLE, and they don't have laser cut negative maps. So there's really no way to mount it. Therefore, the FCPC V5 lacks any compatibility with a conductive thermoregulation tool like our IMS Pro. As for convection, so that's more commonly referred to as evaporative cooling or evaporative thermoregulation, evaporative heat transfer, the same reasons that we just stated on IMS Pro compatibility, that being a lack of loop Velcro fields or a lack of internal MOLLE or maps, also means that you can't run our Ice Vents Classic ventilation pontoons on the inside. Some of you may have seen in our Fit for Your Kit video that we've previewed a tool that we're working on to be able to assist with that, but it's still in R&D as of the shooting of this video in September of 2022. Now, the shoulder straps and the assault cummerbund on the FCPC V5 do have loop linings. That's loop Velcro sewn against them. So that means you can run our Ice Vents Classic ventilation pontoons or our IceFence Aero minimalist plate carrier shoulder pads in kind of any configuration you want to on those two components. So that's a pretty convenient integration feature, and you will get some convection in those spots if you use those IceFence products. On to unique features. Now, the FCPC V5 has kind of some cool modularity in the shoulder straps. You can use these Cobra buckles or a D-ring so that you can get quick release or non-quick release depending on your preferences. The included Cobra buckle can be used basically on either shoulder strap. The 3-inch assault cummerbund also has T-Gris built into it for supplemental structural support, which is something that a lot of people find to be very handy. As for the back panel, it does have laser cut laminate, so you do have a moly field back here of sorts, and it also has the ability to take zip-on back panels. It's worth noting that while these zippers are YKK, the length is proprietary to Ferro Concepts, so you will only be able to run Ferro Concepts rear plate bags, panels, etc. as of right now, unless other companies start providing third-party aftermarket support for those back panels. So another note on the assault cummerbund is that you can modify it using a product that Ferro Concepts sells, where you can connect the cummerbund to the plate carrier or to the front plate bag using Cobra buckles. Right, on to attachment mechanisms. Super simple. The FCPC V5 is capable of Velcro attachments, moly, zip-on back panel, swift clips, G-hooks, lots of choice. Variety. First aspect of variety that we cover is colors, and the FCPC V5 comes in more or less the pretty standard colors. It comes in multicam, multicam black, coyote, ranger green, black, and wolf gray. When it comes to sizes, this is where it gets a little bit interesting. So the FCPC V5 plate bags are available in medium and large. However, the 3-inch assault cummerbund down here is available in 3 sizes: medium, large, and extra large. The medium, it's worth noting, fits most people. The extra large, to the best of our ability to figure it out, can accommodate up to a 56.5-inch circumference midsection. Just let that sink in. All right, as for sizing adjustability, it's really simple. The shoulders and the cummerbund allow for a really wide range of adjustment, so you don't really have many concerns there. Now, the FCPC V5 plate bags themselves also cover a huge range of sizes, which you can see here, and it's pretty much every shape and size on the market. All right, last but not least, price. What does the FCPC V5 even cost? Well, the base, these plate bags, cost $267, and the 3-inch assault cummerbund down here costs $118. Again, we stick to only prices that manufacturers list on their website for consistency. The combined price is $385. That's it for our FCPC. In 2010, Crye Precision launched the Jumpable Plate Carrier, or JPC. The JPC marked a turning point in plate carrier design, away from a mindset of cover everything, protect everything, carry everything that is best represented by the iconic LBT 6094. Instead, the JPC ushered in an era that favored speed, maneuverability, and weight reduction. In 2015, Crye Precision again stunned the world with the launch of the JPC 2.0. Since then,
Many consider the JPC 2.0 to be the reference standard for modern plate carriers. And this era and design philosophy is something with which we have become so familiar that most Chinese counterfeits and even some American influencer companies have copied it so substantially as to make it nearly impossible to tell them apart. But it has been nearly 8 years since the launch of the JPC 2.0, and materials, technology, and construction techniques have evolved significantly since then. This begs the question, how does the JPC 2.0, largely unchanged since its 2015 debut, stack up against...
was discontinued some time ago, and now these yokes are cut from Hank. Hank stands for High Abrasion Resistant Neoprene Kevlar, which you can also find on the laser-cut drink tube routing ports found on our IMS. Hank is manufactured by a Swedish company called Trelleborg. Some of you may recall that Trelleborg is the same company that manufactures the laminate used on the Airlite SPC. When it comes to thermoregulation and hydration integration on the JPC 2.0, it is simple. It doesn't have any native capabilities. The ability to augment the JPC 2.0 with thermoregulation and hydration is limited. As we mentioned earlier, the JPC 2.0 is not compatible with IMS Pro, so an ice plate cannot be worn internally without modification of the JPC 2.0 plate bags or external support. The reason for this is because the plate bags do not have internal loop Velcro, maps, or MOLLE. This means you cannot get any conductive thermoregulation with the JPC 2.0. With regards to convection, or what we more commonly
call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god. Let's go. I'm about to go off like a weapon. Fuel to the top, got a filled up engine. In my thoughts, obsession. I will not stop, no, I'm never second guessing. I got a God complex. Haters love to hate, but I never feel pressed. Got a lot on my plate, but I never get stressed. I'll take all the pressure like I'm acing this test. Tear it up like I'm Jason. I see the world like it's ready for the taking. I see this place like a game I'm playing. Straight to the bank to collect my payments. No negotiations, it's my way, I was born impatient. And like a damn Freemason, I'll run this nation. They call me a god.